Yay! Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I'm so excited to just get to know you. I was reading up on your bio and books that you've been writing.
Yeah, so busy.
Yeah.
January was pretty crazy with the editing, but
Who does your editing? Do you do your
well,
editing?
yeah, I have an editor, and so they send me their edits and their questions and issues that they may have and things they want me to fix, and then I spend a month working at hardcore.
Oh my goodness. And are you given a deadline?
Usually, but I work full time for the city of Austin.
Oh wow.
So I have to manage my time pretty well with editing during the evenings and on the weekends. I'm like a hermit.
Wow. Because actually I was going to ask you if you did your photography and writing full time, but...
Not now, that's the goal. But I work for the city of Austin in the resource recovery department.
Oh wow.
And I write contracts for them, so...
Wow, you're just constantly writing. And so how long have you been doing the writing? I know that your first book came out in 2018, is that correct?
It was 2017? Yeah, 2017.
Oh, okay.
The second one came out in 2018.
Got it, okay.
Wait, what was it, 2018? You're right, it was 2018. I'm a year behind because I always feel like it's not 2020 yet. I have to remind myself to keep writing it. So you are right.
That's funny. How long did it take you to finish that first one?
Oh God. I started writing it back in 2008, and it was mostly just dreams and nightmares that I had had.
Wow.
That I was just writing out, and then over the years I started to merge them into a story, and it took me a little bit to put it all together and make it into something, and then figure out how to publish it.
Wow. So these are just things that just came up in your imagination, not so much one continuity story.
But not, the House of Us started out that way. It was just dreams and things that just came up, and I was I gotta piece this together.
Yeah.
It has to go together.
Wow, that must have drove you insane though.
It really did. The years, I have night terrors, and so I was trying to get some control over them, and I think that's why I started writing them out, and that control made me get through that whole situation with all of those. But yeah, it kind of piecing it together, when you dream and you're I was at the store, but then all of a sudden I was at the mall, and I don't know how I got there.
Yeah.
So I'd have to piece in those in-between parts over the years and figure out how they were all connected, and built the story out of it. So yeah, could drive me a little insane sometimes.
Yeah. Do you have repeated dreams or?
Oh yeah. There's one in the House of Us that my character Addie has. She actually has premonitions from her dreams. And so one of them that she has was one that I'd have reoccurring over and over again. It was actually one of the nicer ones. But yeah, so I kind of put that into the story.
Whoa. Wow. I mean, that's kind of... do you still have nightmares today? Is that what keeps...
they're not as bad as they were years ago. I think it comes with stress.
Yeah.
And they'll be I feel every 6 months or so I'll have a really bad one. And then I'll either just write it out or do a photo around it.
Yeah.
To control it in some sort of way, and I think that control helps me get over it.
Right. Definitely. Well, as any art would, really, that release. But when did you pick up photography?
I think it probably started when my sister gave birth to her first kid. I just had to follow that kid around everywhere. It was the first time being an aunt.
Yeah.
Sorry for the mic. It was my first time being an aunt, and I just wanted to take pictures of them constantly. And then I started taking pictures of my other friends' kids. And then my friend wanted bridals done because she had never had them done. And then I started doing weddings, and that was fun, but it wasn't where my passion was, so to speak. And I call her my original muse. Her name's Savannah. And I would just do the weirdest things with her. We'd go climb in dead trees and take pictures, and made her get on this metal slide that was 8 feet tall and just jump around all over it and take pictures. And I was this is what I want to do, this stuff. So it's been kind of a transformation over the years of deciding what kind of genre of photography I felt where I was meant to be.
Yeah.
And I feel like this fine art area is where I'm meant to be.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Your work is
Thank
so
you.
gorgeous. Like, I love your concepts.
Thanks.
I love your theme. It's always dreary and cloudy and it looks rainy.
Yeah.
And there's always like a hand or flower. I just noticed like very common like imagery in your work, and it all plays together. It's like book art.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That's the goal.
Yeah.
It's always great to hear when it comes across to other people, because the way you see it, I love that with art though. Like the way I see it may not be the same way someone else sees it, but my goal is exactly what you're saying.
Oh, good. Yay.
Yeah, kind of like this dark, almost sad kind of feel to them, but it brings up other emotions sometimes too. Especially with the flowers, like growth, or with the hands, intimacy, or things like that. But there's always this dark element to it.
Yes. And so when you do your photography, is it around your art, your books? Like, are they characters of your books? Or?
Sometimes my book covers actually feature my artwork on them. My publisher designed the elements with it, but they use a lot of my photos, which I think is pretty cool. But sometimes they're characters in my mind, or to express something that I'm going through. I always say that even though I'm an author, I should have a good way with words, but I have a hard time expressing how I'm feeling, or how I'm dealing with things. And so I think I try to relay that into art, and to express that, since I can't put it into words. So maybe there are characters in my mind and my emotions, but not necessarily always in my books.
Right. Yeah. It's so beautiful.
Hey.
And I wish I had time to read your books before I interviewed you today.
That's fine.
But because I usually do like very like science fiction or like fantasy type books, so I'm definitely gonna dive in, and then you can come back and then we'll talk about your book.
Sounds great.
Yeah. But yeah, I was reading up on it, and it has like time travel in it.
It's
fairies.
It's this whole world that I created, and the world's called Thindral, and it has humans in it, like us. They call them Tontu though. But they also have other creatures that are kind of like animals that we have here on Earth, but they're people and they talk. And they have ones that are like, they have cat-like features. Some that have like wolf-like and coyote-like features. And then there's the sand creatures that are just like made up of sand. And there's so many. There's rabbits, there's frogs, there's an underwater world in book 3 that they'll get to see.
Wow.
It's pretty cool. But yes, it does involve time travel, so there's this sci-fi kind of element towards it. And then Earth is tied into the series as well in book 2 and 3.
Oh my goodness. I'm so excited. How many books do you plan on like writing in your life?
I don't know if I could quantify that. This will be my 3rd one, and I have a short story coming out through an anthology later this year. But I have like maybe 6 other ones planned that I need to write, but sometimes they just come to me from my dreams, and I just kind of set the idea to the side and kind of grow on it over the years. And like there's one that I'm going to have to do a whole lot of research on, because it involves a lot of time travel and history, and I want to make sure that I get it all right and understand things. So I don't know. I feel like I have at least another 10 good books in me, if not more.
Yeah. Well, I wasn't sure like if it was something that you plan on just making like, I don't know, a series your whole life. You know?
Well, this series, the halves of a series, the 3rd book comes out in May. That will be the end of that series.
Oh, gotcha.
But I like to think of all of my books as existing in the same universe. So they have like little tiebacks to certain things. Like, for an example, their god or their deity, they call her Fate. And she's the one that's created all of this universe. And that is evident in all of my books. So, but the Thindral, that world, probably won't exist in other books that I write.
Wow. Have you done a photo shoot for that character?
Addie from Thunderall?
Yeah.
Yeah, I did some a while back. I guess it was 2015 I had done them. And I wasn't expecting anything from it. I just wanted to create it. I thought it'd be fun. I worked with a photographer here in Austin, Nico Nordstrom. She had a lot of the equipment that I didn't have, and kind of offered to help me kind of figure it all out and work with me on that. So we did that. But I'm planning on doing a few other ones to kind of just like amp up the last part of the series.
Yeah.
And post on social media and stuff and get people excited.
Nice. And speaking of which, I always have this problem. I'll go into like talking and forget to introduce you.
Hello, everyone.
So if you haven't caught on to my guest. Oh my goodness.
It's all right. I'm sorry. I'm a desk today.
We have author and photographer Sydney Paige Richardson.
Yeah.
I don't know if you introduce yourself.
I have been Sydney Paige Richardson. You can call me Sydney or Sid. And some people call me Sydney Paige. I answer to all of them. So
okay.
Yeah.
Nice. And I'm glad that you like keep your photography name and your books the same, so it's not like you're two different.
It was a decision I made a while back because I had, like, with my wedding photography, I was Sydney Paige Photography, and I was that for so long, and I was like, oh, if I'm going to be an author, and that I didn't want to have, like, so many different social medias. Yep. I know a lot of people do that, and that works for them, but that just would be a lot for me to keep up with.
Yeah.
And I was like, can I just merge this into one person and be that one person?
Right.
And I found that it works. I feel like there are people out there that are like, no, you should have separate ones. But most of the feedback that I've gotten from people, they're excited to see all of my stuff in one place and then also see insights into my life, like my cat pictures, all in one place.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm one person.
Good. And is that your real name or your
That's my real name.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So nice ring to it.
Well, Richardson's my married name, but Sydney Paige, yeah, born.
Yeah, I like it. And when did you do the blue? Because I haven't.
Oh,
hair.
Yeah, I really need to get a new profile picture. That profile picture is actually, I think, from 2017. Nico shot it. I had really blonde hair. And I've just, when I started working for the city, it was the first place that I had worked where they were like, you can have different colors in your hair. We really don't care.
Really?
As long as you remain professional. And I'm like,
cool.
Cool. I'm going to do this. And so I did like purple and this like peacock green, blue, blonde thing going on for a while. And then I went back to purple. And then now I just switch between purple and blue all the time.
Nice. Yeah, I used to dye my hair different colors, and now shaving is just so much easier.
I have always wanted to do that. You pull it off so well.
Oh, thank you.
I feel like I would look like a mental patient that just, had gone a little crazy with some razors.
Oh.
So I haven't done it. I've always wanted to, though.
Yeah.
So you're inspiring me today.
Oh, thank you. Well, I was going to say, I'm not patient with coloring my hair because you know how there's stages, especially when you have dark hair. It's like,
oh yeah, your hair's so dark.
Right. Whereas here, like, I like shaving it because I'm impatient, and I've had it for like 6 years now, and I don't want to see the awkward stages. Like, I'm not ready to commit to that yet.
Yeah, growing that out, I feel like would probably be like the most difficult part.
I know. And then I have to like rock the comb over just to like, I've done that for
I feel like you could.
Yeah. But then it gets uncomfortable because then like it'll slowly part and then it'll look like an undershave. But anyway, not to go on about hair.
It's all right. I could talk about hair. My hair lady, Gracie, she's amazing. So I comb to her sometimes and I'm just like, do whatever you want. So we try new colors occasionally, but
really?
I really go back and forth between blue and purple mostly.
Yeah, purple's my favorite color, so I'm always gonna be partial to that. And actually, speaking of blue hair, because I saw you worked with one of my model friends, Mabel, too.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, wow.
We found each other on Instagram. I think I saw some of her pictures from a photographer in San Antonio that did some work with her. and I was like, wow, she's really pretty. And we became friends, and then she started liking my work. I started liking her work. And then I was like, hey, I really want to work with you. And I sketch a lot of my ideas out. Mm-hmm. I don't have a lot of people that I work with that are comfortable doing nude work. Mostly I work with family members and friends, and I think a lot of them are like, no, they're not too keen on that. And my sister, she is only 17. Well, she's 18 now, but I haven't photographed her in a while. So I couldn't do her in any kind of nude capacity because of her age. But I had these ideas I really wanted to do, and Mabel was up for it. So she was fantastic to work with. It was, I get really excited at photo shoots. Like I jump up and down, and that's normally not like me, but I was so excited in that shoot. I was like, I'm going to jump up and down. I'm so excited.
Yes.
Cause she moved exactly how I wanted to. She understood what I was looking for. So I loved working with her so much. And some of the things that I created with her were some of my favorite shots I've ever done. Yes.
There's this one shot. I believe it's her, because I'm like, she's the only one that has that color blue hair. Because most of your models have their hair covering their face. Yeah. So I think it's her with her back. There's a white feather, and it looked like an overlay of her hair, so it was very big, and I love it.
I told her, I was like, I wanted to kind of make the feather look like it was part of her spine and part of her, and show this fragility. I think that's a word. I make up words sometimes. As a writer, I probably should not say that, but I do. So I was like, I really want to make this, and can you get in that mindset? And she immediately did. We had some like soft music playing, and she just started moving, and I was like, oh my God, this is what I wanted.
She's so graceful in her movements.
She is. Like, I have an obsession with hands.
Me too.
And so she just started like moving with her hands, and I was like, all right, we're just gonna get some hand shots because this is perfect.
This is hand porn right now.
It is. It's like, I'm really sorry if you see like 40 pictures of your hands that I post over the next year or two.
Oh my goodness. And then another model, and that's why I'm surprised I haven't been following you sooner. I'm like, we know mutual people, or like people that you've at least follow you as well.
Okay.
But Froggy, she was excited. That's how I found out about you.
Oh, cool.
So, did those photos turn out yet?
Well, we're scheduling. I have a planned series that I'm going to do with her. With crows. Ooh. And I was really excited about it, and I was like, this is really what I want to do. Sometimes I change my mind once I start working with people or see how they move and stuff, but I really think it would be really great to do with her. And she's up for it. Yes. So I'm hoping that we'll do it in like April, maybe late March, depending on her schedule. I know she's got some stuff that she has to schedule around, so I'm trying to make sure that I be accommodating to that.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that's always a tough part about photography. Like, I mean, shooting models, that is like getting the scheduling straight.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people, I shoot with natural light, so I don't have like a studio space or anything like that.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you.
So, like with Mabel, I actually shot her in my guest bedroom. It was crazy. We had the window wide open, so the light would come in, and then she's just moving and being beautiful and kind of not wearing anything, and I'm like, it's all right, we're okay. But no, it turned out great, and that's the first time that I've really shot indoors before. Normally, I shoot outdoors.
Wow.
But I still had that natural light aspect shooting her in my room. So that was nice. It was I was a little nervous about it, but obviously it turned out great. I think so.
Yeah.
I keep touching the mic.
It's okay.
Forgive me. But yeah, no, shooting natural light I think is where I work, but explaining that to models sometimes is a little bit difficult, because they're like, oh, you don't have a studio, or we're going to do nude in your backyard. And I'm like, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
If you're not okay with it, let me know.
Right. Yeah. Oh my goodness. So it's all in your backyard?
Most of the time. If not, I shoot like on my back porch or my backyard, or at my family. My husband's family lives like 2 miles down the road from us, and I shoot at their house in their backyard sometimes.
Oh, wow.
Because their daughter models for me a lot. But yeah, I usually shoot there, but sometimes you can see there's different backgrounds.
Yeah.
And I kind of just composite them into different backgrounds in Photoshop to make it easier for me. Because, I mean, it's not always... I shot the other day this field that I drove by. I went back to my house, got my camera, and drove back to the field. Wow. Because I was like, I'm going to use this again. And I'll end up putting someone in it in another photo, but it's easier, especially if I'm doing something weird, if it's nude or mask or textures or drawing on their body. Sometimes it's weird to go out in public and do that. I've had people stop and ask if we're okay. Actually had a cop stop me and my friend Savannah, that was my original muse, one time. They said they got a call saying there was a woman in distress and being held hostage. And I was like, I'm taking pictures of her. And we had to show them that we were doing this of our own free will. She was fully clothed.
Yeah.
It was fine, but... So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to start compositing.
Wow. But yeah, you do really well. I mean, I like how your photos they look like paintings.
That's the goal.
Yeah.
Yay.
And even when they're laying on the grass, your composites with making it very gray and dark clouds in the background, isolating. You can't tell that. I don't know what you have in the background.
Usually a fence.
Okay, yeah. It's just a void. It's really good.
That's one of the things I had to learn was trying to figure out how to do that, because I'm self-taught on all of this.
Oh, really?
So
Same.
it's like, okay, how do I get rid of this fence and make it look real? I'm going to make some fake fog. Mm-hmm. And then I had pictures of some clouds that I got of a stormy day last April that I use a lot in my textures to give that kind of cloudy effect. Textures help me with that painterly feel. Yeah. That's definitely what I'm going for.
It's perfect.
Thank you.
I was going to ask you too, there's this one photo that I love of, it's a man and a woman, and they look like they're floating.
Oh, yeah.
And they're in the embrace. And
that's my sister and her boyfriend.
Really?
Yeah. I shot that on Christmas Day. It was the first time he came to meet the family. I had just met him the day before, and I was like, hey, man, you want to take your shirt off and let me take a photo of you floating in the air? And he was like, sure. So I told her he's the keeper. So, but yeah, no, I wanted to create this kind of, told them I wanted leaves moving around them, and I wanted them floating, and it was perfect. My sister's used to my weird ideas, but she lives about 3 hours away in another town, so I don't get to shoot with her as much anymore unless she comes to visit. Yeah. But Christmas Day we shot that, and it worked. I loved it.
Yeah. Are they just tippy-toeing?
I actually made him jump.
Oh, really?
The original photo of them holding each other, they're actually standing there holding each other. But then I made him jump for a few so that I could kind of composite in his feet. Then I just covered up hers with the dress, making it more flowy with another picture of the dress moving. Yeah. And then I had my other cousins just throw leaves everywhere for a couple of shots so that I could fit those in and put them where I wanted to. And it's all about manipulating the light to make it look like they're circling and floating. Yeah, very well done. Thank you.
You're really good at making fabric look liquidy.
Oh, you know? It's so weird if you see the background shots, it's just someone there waving their dress. And then I'm like, cut that out, composite on here. Yeah. Warp it.
And is it usually tulle fabric? Or?
Sometimes. I honestly, a lot of the outfits that I have people in are things that I got from Goodwill.
Nice.
And I can just change the color in Photoshop. So that dress, I think in that shot is red. Yeah. And in the dress is actually this emerald green color.
Nice.
So
well done.
Just kind of change it up.
Yeah.
But I do use tulle a lot. I used a lot of tulle when I shot Mabel. Yeah. I think there's just something very whimsical, but also mysterious. Yep. And kind of erotic about it at times. So it's this really, you can take it in so many different ways. And that's what I love about using tulle.
Yep. Me too. I know. I think I have 6 of all different colors. And I love layering them. Yeah. They make such dimension and, I don't know, hit the light differently. But
yeah, manipulating light with fabric, it can really change an image too based on what you use. So I get that.
So do you really shoot like in the mornings, or
I
is it
try to
mostly-
shoot either in the early morning or like later in the afternoon. Depending on if I shoot in my back porch, sometimes where the way the sun's hitting, it's shadowy.
Mhm.
It's shadowy. You know what I mean.
Shady.
Shady. I forgot the word. See, I forget words and I make up words. It's shady, and so I kind of like that because then I can put the light wherever I want it to be.
Yeah.
And I think that's why I try to avoid shooting midday, because the sun is so direct.
Right.
If I have to, like I've had to for weddings before, and you just gotta make it work.
Yep.
But I try not to do that as much as possible. And also here in Texas, that's usually like the hottest part of the day in the summer, so I avoid that completely.
Right.
So yeah, morning is nice if I have a morning model. That's because sometimes models, people I work with, are like, "Oh, I'm not getting up at 7 a.m. for you."
Yeah.
I'm like, "It's okay.
Yeah.
Let's meet around 4, 3 or something, and we'll see how the light is."
Right. Yeah. But man, they should. Yeah. Morning is the best time to go. Like,
I've been wanting to do like a foggy morning, like literal fog, not my faux fog, which works sometimes. But I've been dying to do an early morning shoot, whether it's a foggy day. But that's like you never know when it's going to do that until you get like a dense fog warning on your phone or something. Right. So it's hard to kind of plan that and have a model on standby.
Right?
Like, hey, it's foggy, let's get up.
Yup. That's how I feel like 1 a.m, like on a weekday, especially on the street. The street lights, like when it's really foggy, and then you could see like the shadows of the trees, and it's like I want to text a friend and be like, "Can you come over like right now?" I mean, like right now.
If only.
But yeah. So, are you working? You're working on your third book right now.
Yeah, I am in the content editing parts where I kind of have an editor. We're actually wrapping that up, where they kind of read through and make sure everything's like the continuity of it's fine and it matches anything, if nothing's misplaced about locations or names or something from the other books, making sure that it all works together. And then we do line editing, which is, I don't know which is harder. Editing is just hard in general.
Yeah.
I'm really hard on myself, so I think I strive for perfection so much that I kind of just get in my head and you start to wonder if it's total shit.
Yeah.
Sorry, can I say that?
Yeah.
You're like, oh my God, is this terrible? Or is it great? Who knows anymore?
Yeah.
And so you kind of get in this weird mindset and you just got to keep going.
Yeah.
Thankful for my editor for that. She keeps me going.
That's good. Have you ever like scrapped an entire chapter or just
yeah. As a matter of fact, book 1 did not, the way it starts now is not how it originally started.
Really?
I had like this huge prologue and this whole other new chapter, and I was like, I had the feedback I was getting when I was writing it, and I have a writer's critique group, and then I had won some critiques from other agents and stuff, and they were like, you need to figure out where to start this because this is not where it needs to start. So you kind of develop some thick skin, and you're like, all right, I guess I got to redo this.
Right.
And I really think finding like the starting point sometimes is the hardest with books. Yeah. And you have to give yourself permission to just write bad.
Yeah.
And go back and fix it later.
Right.
Because sometimes it'll come to you as you write. You're like, oh yeah, definitely need to start back over here.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that would be so, I don't know, like I'm so not sensitive, but I couldn't take someone's critique like that, especially knowing that like, well, I'm sure like with your editor and like your publisher, it's like your work, everyone's on the line type thing. Yeah. You know what I mean?
They're putting a lot of effort into it, and so you want to do it right for them. And so you do listen, and they have the expertise in it. And I'm not saying it's not hard, because there are times where you're like, you think something is so great, and then they're like, no. And you're like, damn it. And, you know, you just kind of gotta, I think my critique group really helped me with that. They helped me like figure out that I need to take a step back, and I'm not saying that I don't get sensitive about it, because there are times where I will just pour a couple of glasses of wine and get through it, and maybe cry about it. It's okay. But you kind of just got to move forward, because I mean, it's what you do. You're creating something, you're making art, and you just got to keep going.
Yeah. What made you decide to put all your dreams in a book? Like,
I think it just really started with trying to have control over those night terrors. And then I was like, you know what? I had always wanted to write. I remember being a little girl and I wanted to be a writer or a ballerina. And I think I wanted to be a missionary for a while because my family is very religious. But I could not be a ballerina. I love ballet and I danced for years, but I wasn't good at ballet. I love watching it though. Obviously the hands.
yeah.
And so I always knew that I wanted to write. It just, you always think, can I actually do this? You know, is someone actually going to want to read this? But then I just decided that I was going to do it for me.
Yeah.
And if people liked it along the way, cool.
Yeah.
And there are people that really like it, so it made me feel good about it, obviously. But I just decided that I got to go for it.
Yeah. Yeah, life's too short.
Yeah.
Just do it. You have nothing to lose, really.
Yeah, I mean, I still have a job.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
It's like,
Right.
I mean, I really hope to do this one day full time, but why not,
Yeah. Which one do you, I mean, like, if you do full time, would you put more into the books or the photography? Like, would you, is photography a business for you? Like, do you do weddings by commission?
I still do some weddings occasionally, just because it pays well. It's not my favorite thing to do. A lot of times now I do them more for like family and friends and stuff. But I don't know. I think I would try to split 50-50, and I know that sounds terrible. There will be times where, like, if I'm really frustrated with writing and I can't get something right, I fall back on photography and start to do that a little more. And when I'm upset, maybe I didn't get into a gallery or I can't figure out the full concept or this editing technique right, then I'll turn back to writing. And so I kind of do this, like, flip-flop between them. And sometimes they merge. Like, I'm working with a couple of author friends right now to do some conceptual pieces around their books.
Cool.
And that's pretty exciting for me because I would love to be a part of that and also maybe even be on some book covers that aren't my own.
Wow.
Yeah, I think together and merging them is
Right.
my true passion.
Wow. That's amazing.
Thanks.
I'm jealous.
Don't be. Look at this. Look at this.
No, but I feel that, like, that's kind of how I was with my photography and doing this podcast.
Yeah.
It's like, I can only do one or the other. Like, if I try to split my energy equally between both, I'm going to get frustrated with one of them eventually because it's not up to, like, it's not meeting the goals that I had originally planned for.
I mean, that's human nature to get upset with something along the way, too. So you're going to encounter that.
Yeah. But I don't know. Like, for me right now, I'm trying to pull back on both because I got really burnt out.
That's hard.
Yeah.
I get that. I feel like in January I was on a really tight editing deadline with some of the content edits, and I got burnt out. I really wanted to focus on one of my other books this month, but I was like, you got to take a step back or you're going to hate it. And so that's why I've been doing a lot of photography this month.
Yeah.
And, sometimes you just got to do what's best for you to keep your mental health right,
Right. Yep. I didn't know if you, like, pursued it, like, not professionally or just, like, for fun, but do you do music too?
Not really. I love writing poetry. And my cousin Meredith Sanders, she is a singer, and so I would give her some of my poetry occasionally.
Oh, I see.
And she would write music to it and sing it.
Oh.
And it was so much fun to do that with her. And then in my book I wrote a lullaby. And my grandmother wrote music for it, and my cousin sang it.
Oh.
And so that was a really cool thing to do with them. I love to sing. I am by no means a professional. I had dreams of being on Broadway. But those were just dreams. Because I have stage fright, hardcore. So singing in my car and to my cats is kind of where I limit myself right now. Yeah. Occasionally karaoke if I've had a little bit of wine.
But going back to stage fright, so do you try to submit your work to art galleries?
Yeah, that's terrifying. Just because this is the first time, with your writing, you put yourself out there with publishers, and of course you get rejected. So this was my first time, like, putting my pictures out there to be essentially published or portrayed on their walls, and had to send in a proposal and all sorts of stuff. And I've gotten rejections, and it is what it is, and you kind of move on and create new work and submit again. Yeah.
Are these in, like, Round Rock?
Yeah, there's some in Austin, Round Rock, and Georgetown, and then there's a few in other cities. I've submitted some in Houston because my family is near that area. So yeah, I have a series that I call the Darker Side of Spring, where I kind of talk about seasonal depression. A lot of people go through it through the winter months, but I kind of go through it through spring.
Really?
And so I kind of created these 8 images to portray that journey that I go through, where it comes to me and then I get low and fight back up to get through it. And I submitted that to a gallery in Georgetown. And I'm waiting to hear back. I'm supposed to hear back in March. So we'll see if that works. If it doesn't, submit it to another one and keep trying.
Yeah, well, good luck. I'm actually surprised that none of them accepted your work. It's just, like, what kind of galleries? Are these, like, coffee shops or what type of?
Most of them are, I think they're just the art galleries. They take all different kinds, with painting, sculpture, photography, mixed media. So you kind of just gotta see what they're looking for.
Okay, so they usually have, like, a theme that.
Some of them have themes that you could submit for, and some of them have open calls where they'll take in anything, which is where the Darker Side of Spring was going into. But you just kind of, I don't know how they figure out who goes through. I'm sure they get tons of proposals and submissions. And they just pick what they're looking for and what they think fits best with their studio. And, out of, thousands of submissions, you just kind of got to get lucky sometimes, I guess. There is a gallery in Georgetown, another one, right off the square. I think it's called, like, Art Center. Oh, dang, I can't believe I can't remember that name off the top of my head. I'm a part of their guild, their art guild, which means that over the next couple of months, I may be able to start putting up my work there. It's just like people come by and view it, and they have little parties every now and then. So it's about when they get open space. So I'm kind of just waiting to get some news about open space to hang up a few pieces over there. Yeah. But, you got to start out somewhere.
Right. Or East. Have you ever participated with East?
I don't know. I don't think so.
You haven't heard of East? It's East Austin Studio Tour.
No, I haven't.
Okay, so around, like, November, like late October, I want to say mid-November, so it just passed. There's 2 weekends. It's actually a full week. Yeah, like a weekend to a weekend where, like, any local participating gallery, they can be in this map for the East Austin Studio Tour. So, like, people are walking around just to see, like, which studios are participating, so it's free. So you just walk in and, I don't know, just see people's work. Like, Canopy, have you heard of Big Medium or...
No, I feel awful. I don't know any of these things. No, and honestly, I'm just getting started in all my research with galleries, so this is helping me.
Yeah. No, it's really neat because so I participated one year, but I was unofficial, so I wasn't on the map. But just because if you weren't on the actual official map of the tour, you could still throw your own showing because everyone's out and about anyway.
Oh, cool.
So they could just be like, oh, we'll just walk in here. You know what I mean? Like, it's a really good way to, like, network because everyone's out. And
I need to do that more. I feel like for a while there, past couple of years, I've just been doing it myself and posting on social media, and I was like, you really need to try with these galleries. And so I've been doing research and trying to figure out how to do that.
Yeah.
So this is helpful. Thank you.
Or like I think Blue Genie Art Bazaar participates too sometimes.
Oh, cool.
So I'll have to send you the link.
Yeah, please do.
Because there's tons of
I feel like there's a lot more opportunities in Austin as opposed, not that there's not in Round Rock or Georgetown, but I know there's a huge art scene here.
Right.
And I really would like to try and weasel my way into it.
Yeah. You don't even need a weasel. You just need to find like the right people. Like, because I heard of East Austin when I was walking downtown and I saw someone setting up for this showing, and I was with my friend from Milwaukee, and he's more of an extrovert and I'm introvert. So like, of course, he's all like, so what are you guys doing over here? And he was like, oh, we're setting up for this studio tour that's coming up. And he was like, what? Well, she's a photographer. Can she show her stuff? And she's like, yeah, come by. And that's how it happened. Like,
that's awesome.
Yeah. So she's like, yeah, I have a little corner if you want to grab like 8 pieces, just hang them up over there. And I'm like, thank you so much.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So
I just need to walk downtown.
Yeah.
And get it. Yeah. I don't know if I would have been able to do that. I consider myself like one of those what do they say, like a introverted extrovert or vice versa. Mm-hmm. Like I'm kind of really shy, and then if in the right situation though, I will just project myself if I need to.
Yeah.
But most of the time I just stand back in the corner and watch everyone.
Yeah, I feel that.
I'm a people watcher.
Right. Or like I've always made friends with the more extrovert type because we balance each other out.
Yeah.
And like I'll just be quiet in the sidelines, but they help me liven up and vice versa. Like,
I think that's a lot of my friends kind of help me come out there.
Yeah.
And do a little bit more. I should work on that more though if I'm going to put myself out there for art and talk about it. I was kind of nervous about coming just because talking and stuff kind of makes me a little nervous.
But you're doing so well.
Well, thank you.
Have you heard of Raw?
I don't know.
It's another like art, not, I wouldn't say platform, but like they have showcases all over the world. And
oh, cool.
Yeah, but the thing about Raw is like it's kind of like a pay to play. Like it's a big showcase in your city, but if you want to participate, you have to sell this many tickets. So which is like $20 a pop. So everyone, you either like it or you hate it. But because the Raw here in Austin is in Belmont. Have you heard of Belmont? Mm-hmm. Okay, so I showed my stuff there.
Okay.
And I just fronted the money. Like I'm not the type to like try to sell my stuff. So I just want my friends to go there, so I fronted the money. I'm like, I'll just pay for a ticket, just show up. And then when my stuff was on display, like, I was so shy. I didn't want to talk to anybody. Like, I don't know about you, but if you've ever displayed your work, like, do you ever, like, listen to what people are saying about it? It's so...
When I went to that gallery that I might have space to put up a few things for and listened, like, I walked around and just, like... people watching, because it's what I do.
Yeah.
But also I was listening to what people saying around the art, about the art around them. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh man, my stuff would be up here and they'd be saying stuff. Do I want to hear it? Do I? Yes, but oh my gosh.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I know. So I would just pretend like I'm not an artist there. I would just like be in the sidelines, like just drinking or whatever free booze they had. So
smart. Oh, they were telling me like you should wear a name tag when you have your artwork up so they know that you're one of the artists. And I'm like, oh, is that mandatory?
Yeah. Oh, it's so funny. Are you pretty hard on yourself though? Like,
oh yeah, I think that perfectionism. I'm really trying to shy away from it. One of the photographers that I follow on Instagram, she always talks about how you have to give yourself permission to make good art and bad art because it's a part of the growth process. So I've been doing a lot of her weekly challenges here recently, and it's hard to conceptualize something and create it and post it within a week, especially working another full-time job and having my writing deadlines. And I'm like, you can do this. But it's given me permission to make bad art and just try new things. And if it doesn't work out, talk about it.
Yeah.
And I think I've gotten a lot more feedback from actually talking about it and saying, hey, I struggled with this, or hey, I'm not happy with how this final edit, but I tried, and that's what matters because I'm growing.
Yep.
And I think having that discussion is really important, and it's easier for me to have that on social media than I think in person, just because.
Yeah.
I don't know. I get nervous when I talk to people face to face about things.
Yeah, I feel that. But like with writing, so because you have an editor and you have like other people that are involved in that project, it is more natural to like be more vocal about what changes need to be done to make it better. Whereas like with photography, if that's solely your baby, like do you ever get feedback on how to make that better? I feel like when it comes to that art, because it's mostly yours.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
I do.
Like, is there more room for growth in writing than there is for photography? Because that's more of...
I think it's all about who you surround yourself with, or who your confidants are, because even though I'm doing these weekly challenges, I send like my start process, and like as I'm going, or if I can't figure out something, or if I'm unsure the lighting's right, I'll talk about it with my sisters and my aunt, and usually the model. It's usually my cousin. Well, my cousin-in-law, but I call her my cousin. And they'll be like, I don't know about this color, or maybe you should change the color of the dress, or that background doesn't look right. Yeah. This isn't fitting. And so, you know, I still get critique from them and kind of learn from that. And I think the funniest one to send stuff to is my mom. Because she's like, oh, that's a little creepy. That's too dark. I don't like, that's scary. I don't want to see that. And I'm like, oh, okay. But my mother is pretty brutally honest sometimes. And she's like, no, I don't think this one's working.
Really?
And I'm like, okay.
And do you like listen to her and just like
a lot of times, sometimes you have to kind of, I've learned even as a writer and a photographer, just an artist in general, that so much of it is subjective.
Yeah. And
you can get people telling you to fix things, like that first chapter I was talking about, or my mother telling me something's not working in a photo. And you have to be like, okay, well, there's suggestions or their issue that they have. If I fixed it, will it make it stronger? Will it still have to the core of it what I want it to be? And you have to make that decision. Like, I have a photo, it's actually one of Mabel's hands, coming out of a flower pot, and there's like a flower coming off of her finger. And I had sent that to my mom, and she was like, you should have a vine growing around her hand and more stuff coming out of the pot. And I was like, I just wanted her hand coming out of there. I wanted to show just this, because the theme was broken. And I wanted to show that this individual person like breaking through and growing out of this darkness, out of the flower pot. Yeah. And I was like, if I have this more growth, I think it's going to take away from that message. So I didn't take her advice with that one, and kind of stuck with my original thought process. So you just kind of got to like look at it from what you really want the message to be from its core.
Right. Now, is your mom, does she have an art background? Like...
No, she loves to write too. She writes thrillers, like adult thrillers. And she's kind of got a little bit of a music background with the church that she's in. So she's not necessarily like a photographer, an artist, painter, or anything like that, but I think she does kind of have an artsy, crafty feel. She likes to make, she likes to smash ceramics and like put them on tables and make little new things out of them.
Gotcha.
So she's got that side of her.
Oh, cool.
That's probably where I got it from. Just this, like, artsy.
Because I was going to say, for her to be like that descriptive of what, you know, she thinks would make it look better. I'm like,
I think maybe she's just used to my weirdness, and she's like, you need more vines. And like the other day, my sister, I had sent her one, and she was like, you need to add blood to this. And I was like, what? What are you talking about? Because it was so unlike her to say that. And I was like, I'm rubbing off on you.
Do you shoot with blood?
Not real blood. I've shot with fake blood. You know, I just got like at the Halloween store.
Yeah, but I don't. Because your images are so pretty, I can't think if I've seen blood on one of them.
There was one with my cousin Madison. I had this flower, I got it from I think it was Hobby Lobby or Michael's or something. That I think it's supposed to be like a cabinet doorknob. So it had the screw background, but it was this glass rose flower. And I was pushing it into her skin in the photo. So it was like this screwing in this beauty.
Ooh.
And so there was some blood trickling out of that. And then there was blood coming out of her eyes.
Wow.
So that one's a little bit darker with blood.
Yeah. But it's still very well done. It's tasteful. It's not like
gore.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. One of the last themes that she had was grotesque. That photographer I follow on Instagram. And I had the hardest time with it because I was like, do I pour blood all over someone? Do I?
Yeah.
So yeah, I didn't pour blood all over someone. If it makes me feel better, but
is that challenge still going?
Yeah, it's a weekly challenge throughout the rest of the year. And she posts on Brooke Shaden.
Okay.
She posts on Sunday the theme, and you have until Saturday to post.
Oh, 7 days.
Yeah.
Or 6.
6-ish.
Days. Oh my goodness. I mean, it sounds like such fun, but for me, because I'd have to find a model. So you always have one on deck for every week?
No. That's one of the hardest things is because I was like, having Madison, my cousin, just be like, because she's still in high school. She's 17. And I'm like, what's your schedule like?
Yeah.
But luckily, the few times that I've shot her these couple of weeks during the year so far, it's because the Monday was like a holiday or something. So I could go over to her house or she could come to mine after school or during the week if she couldn't come that Monday. But most of the time, it's photos that I have in stock already.
Oh, good.
Like the one of Mabel's hand.
Yeah.
I had shot last September, I think. And I just went outside and shot a flower pot.
Nice.
And some dirt and put it all together.
Wow. So good. Even I've seen ones where you put a book, life size next or
that was actually
them.
my book.
Really?
Yeah. I was like, why not? So I went outside and opened it up and put it on the ground and snapped some pictures. And my husband came out and held the book a few times in case I wanted some different shots. So I try to take different angles and different shots, and sometimes original thoughts I have don't work out. So I still have those stock photos is what I call them. And sometimes I go through them with these weekly themes and I'm like, can I make something out of one of my stock photos, or do I need to get Madison over here?
Yeah. No, that's really smart. That's why I always hoard photos in my computer. And then I go through these phases where it's it's just collecting space and I'm not motivated lately, so I just trash most of them and then I regret it.
Oh, that's what my husband bought me, this huge hard drive. So I've just started moving things over to that. And I'm like, oh wait, that one's on that hard drive. And the 2018 folder, let me go open that. I try to be organized, but
Yeah. Have you ever accidentally deleted a chapter or a photo?
There was one time I got so upset. Word crashed on me, and I had lost a chapter and a half.
Oh.
I was like, okay, well, I panicked, and then I cried a little because that's what I do when I panic. I had a glass of wine, and then I was like, all right, just rewrite it. And I had Cody see if he could get it back because he's in IT. That's my husband.
Yeah.
But sometimes when things crash, they just disappear.
Oh, do you think it made it better?
I think,
second time?
There's always you're like, oh man, I really loved what I had written in that one sentence, and I don't remember what it was, but it was so well done, and now it's gone. And so now I get paranoid, and I email myself drafts and stuff sometimes, so I can save them in my email folder. And just in case you lose this, here's this chapter that you just wrote. But that's just the panic side of me now, just worried about losing things.
That's smart. And actually, that one question I have, so for any aspiring writer, what's something that you learned the hard way that you wish someone gave you advice on?
Don't jump the gun.
Yeah.
I know so many people, and I myself kind of rushed into careering agents or submitting chapters to publishers to try to get them to publish your book. Take the time to read your work, make sure that it's the best it can be, find beta readers, get a critique group, polish it before you submit it. I know so many people, we're just we want instantaneous gratification of we made this beautiful thing. Everyone's going to love it. Throw it out into the world.
Right.
Take a step back.
Mm-hmm.
I even do that with photos now where I'm like, all right, sleep on it. Because you need to look at it again tomorrow with fresh eyes.
Yep.
I always say fresh eyes. Just because you need a fresh perspective, even if it's your own, just take a step back, breathe.
Right.
Make sure it's your best. Because sometimes you only get that one shot.
Yeah. Had you tried submitting your first book to how did you pick a publisher or an editor? How did that work?
It's people, you have different choices these days with publishing. So many people self-publish.
Mm-hmm.
And that's that instant gratification of seeing it up there and stuff. I really recommend, there are so many ways to hire editors and people to make your book covers and make everything look as professional as possible that really work for people these days.
Mm-hmm.
And you can achieve success with that if you do it the right way and research and make sure your best work's out there. But then there's traditional publishing, where you either get an agent to submit to publishers or you find publishers that don't require an agent. And I decided that I really wanted an agent because I wanted someone on behalf of me to be by my side who kind of knew the industry to help me get out there. And so you have to develop a query letter, which is basically 250 words telling them why they would love your book. It's really hard.
Wow.
And so that took me 2 years to get an agent doing that. And I've heard that's actually quick in some perspectives. Some people go years trying to do that. And so I had my agent and we polished my book even more. And then she would send out proposals to publishers that she felt or editors at publishers that she felt would love the book. Mm-hmm. And then we found my publisher, the Parliament House Press. They're an indie publisher, but they're amazing. And I love their aesthetic. It's very dark and moody and skulls and witches and all sorts of fun stuff and fun dark stuff.
Yeah.
And so I felt like they were just the perfect fit. And luckily they loved my book. And I'm actually going to New York Book Con to help represent them this year. So I'm really excited about that.
Wow, that's awesome. Do they have a lot of books that are in the shelves? Where can you find
You can find them anywhere. You can find them on Amazon, Barnes & Nobles, just anywhere books are sold, really, you can look them up. A lot of times it's harder to find indie publishers on bookshelves, but these days more and more companies like Books A Million and Barnes & Nobles are getting those indie books and putting them on their shelves because that's really what's driving sales.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. I didn't know that the same was kind of happening with the music industry now. Everyone's going independent.
It's the same concept. I had to explain that to my mother because she was like, indie publisher, what does that mean? And I'm like, just like the music scene, Mom. Yeah. It's just like that. And so, I think that's where things are going because a lot of times with these smaller, when I say smaller, I mean when you think of the big publishers, they are backed by millions of dollars, just like the music industry. And so you have these smaller publishing houses that still have maybe not as much backing, but they have backing and they have the drive, and they kind of give the artist a little bit more of or the writers, authors, a little bit more of a creative input. Mm-hmm. And so I like that aspect because maybe at a publishing house, major one, my photos may have not been on my book cover.
Oh, excuse me, I'm so sorry.
No, I'm surprised I haven't sneezed yet. I was I took extra Zyrtec this morning.
Oh, I'm so sorry, excuse me. But yeah, publishers.
You have a little bit more of a creative input at these indie publishers, and I like that aspect. And they're respectful of that, and that they still want to maintain who they are and what their message is and what their brand is, but they really do allow their authors to have input and perspective into the whole process.
That's cool.
So I really like that, and I think that's probably why I'll stick with indie publishers for a while.
Good for you. So when is the convention?
It's in May. It's at the end of May 31st through June 2nd.
Nice.
I think. I went last year, but I wasn't part of the group that was representing the Parliament House. But this year I am. And so last year, I think it gave me a chance to kind of be in that place without having my book necessarily there, and help sell other people's books and talk to, because they're all my friends. So I wanted to be like, you're going to want to go check out that booth over there. Their books are great. But now I've got to do it for my book. And I think that's so nerve-wracking.
Yeah. Like, what does that involve? Like a meet and greet? Are you going to read a chapter?
So I'll be there. They're going to have set up times for the authors they have that are representing them there, where we do meet and greets and sign books and just talk about our process and what our books are about. And that's obviously scary.
Yeah.
Sitting there talking to people about your book and trying not to get tongue-tied. So, I have to remind myself, you'll probably never see a lot of these people again. So just go out there and try and just do it. And you can vomit later.
Yeah. Are your is it considered like adult fiction or YA?
It's considered young adult, YA. But like so many other adults out there in the world, I read a lot of YA.
Yeah.
I found that I know there are a lot of young adult age 12 to 18 people that do read, but a lot of the readers in that group are adults.
Yeah.
And so I think that's what's so great about it is just you're going to have so many different types of people that love to read it and want to talk to you about it, and just got to figure out how to put myself out there and get through that part of talking about it.
Yeah, you'll do great. Do you plan on wearing something I don't know, not cosplay, but within that realm?
I have a lot of skirts, but a couple of us actually got matching outfits to wear because my publisher has this really skull theme, and so we all found these some of them have dresses, some of them have skirts that have these skulls on them, and some of us are going to wear them. So that'll be fun. But no, I've never really done cosplay. I have friends that do it, and I think it's the coolest thing ever. But I don't know, I just never got into it myself.
Yeah.
But I love the idea of just becoming another character.
Same.
Yeah. And I think that would be fun. I've never done it.
Yeah.
Maybe in the future. We live closer to a major town that has conventions too, so now we can figure out and go to those. Mm-hmm. But you see those at BookCon. A lot of people, you'll see Harry Potter or things from Shadow and Bone, all the different types of things, honestly.
Wow, I didn't know there was a BookCon.
Yeah. Honestly, I probably didn't know there was one until about 8 years ago too, so don't feel bad.
Is there one in Austin?
We have Texas Book Festival here.
Okay.
It's not as big as New York BookCon. I think that's the main one. But I'd never been to New York before until last year, so I think that's probably why I didn't know there was such a big deal and huge there.
Yeah.
But it's the main one that everyone tries to go to.
Fun. Is it in the city?
Yeah.
Cool. Wow. I'm trying to go to Brooklyn in April, so I highly doubt it's in Brooklyn, probably Manhattan or New York City.
Yeah.
Okay.
We were staying in New York City. What was the name of that convention center? It was at a convention center. It was huge. It took up 3 floors.
Wow. Dang. Speaking of 3 floors and books, I just went to the Austin Library for the first time.
Yeah?
A couple weekends ago.
I think I went on a field trip years ago at school, but I've never been myself. I know that sounds bad, guys. I'm not from here. I just moved here 3 years ago.
Oh, really?
4 years ago. So,
I didn't know that. I didn't even ask you that. Where are you originally from?
I grew up in Huntsville, Texas. It's also called Prison City. We have 12 prisons.
Really?
Yeah, it's where Sam Houston State University is. It's a smaller university. Not a lot of people know about it, but yeah, I grew up there. Thought I was going to live there forever, but kind of didn't want to. Mm-hmm. Small town, gotta get out. And so we always wanted to move to this area. And in 2016, we jumped the gun and did it.
Wow. So into Round Rock, right? Not
yeah.
Okay.
We live in Round Rock. I still like tell people, like, where do you live? And I'm like, from the Austin area. Because when you say Round Rock, most people are like, what's that?
Oh, really?
At least where I'm from, they're like, where? And I'm like, it's the Austin area.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it.
It's just very North Austin. Like, even where I am right now is, like, considered super north to most Austin people. I'm like,
really?
Yeah, it's north central. But it's close to the Domain. It's right there.
I work in North Austin, off of Palmer.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
I used to live over there. Palmer and what?
Oh my God, what is the name of that street? It's right off 183. I don't know.
Okay.
I'm terrible with street names.
No,
I'll remember it like when I'm driving home. I'm like, damn it.
Yeah.
Rutherford Lane.
Okay.
Rutherford Lane. Sorry, it took me a minute.
Okay. Nice. Pretty close over here.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I lived on Palmer, it was like even before Apple came and took over that whole side of town. I'm like, oh my God, the city. It looks different every time.
I swear, every time I'm driving by something, I feel like there's a new for sale sign, huge, and then there's new construction, and I'm like, what is happening?
Yep. Or I'd be like, wow, a new restaurant. Then like 2 months later, all right, that didn't work out. But wow, we should probably start wrapping up.
Okay.
Yeah, like, wow, time kind of flew.
Sorry.
No, it was a pleasure. Like, there's so much to cover. You're such like an artistic person.
Oh,
so
thank you.
I knew I'd be excited to talk to you. So, so where can we find your stuff? I found you on Instagram. That's Sydney Paige
Decides.
Designs.
Sydney Paige Decides. It's a weird name. I get all the questions like, what are you deciding? And I'm like, life. I am deciding life. So yeah, you can find me on Instagram at Sydney Paige Decides. I'm on Twitter at Sid Saying Things. I'm not on there as often, but
SYD.
yeah, I try to. Sometimes I can post my stuff on there that without the block, like with Mabel and stuff, since it's nude and stuff.
Yeah, that's right.
And then my website, just SydneyPaigeRichardson.com.
Cool.
And Paige is Paige.
Yes, yes.
My mother argues that it's pronounced Paige, but she's a little bit much, so
a little extra.
Yeah.
Cool. And then we can find your books on Amazon.
Yeah, and Barnes & Nobles and wherever books are sold. If you just go to my Instagram on my link tree, I have a bunch of links there that'll take you straight to them.
Yeah. And I was gonna say, catch you at BookCon.
Yeah.
That's Memorial Day weekend, isn't it? The last weekend of May is usually.
Oh, I guess so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
So catch her there in New York.
Catch me in New York if you're there.
And we should anticipate your next book.
I think it's May 6th.
May. Okay.
Early May.
May's a good month.
I'm terrible with dates. As you can tell, I should probably be better. Early May.
So please check out her work. Phenomenal photographer.
Thank you.
Overall artist, writer, like stylist. Oh my goodness.
Really is. I'm in pajamas or skirts.
Yeah.
Really.
And me, this is the first time I've worn shoes on the show.
Yeah, well, you know what? I was actually watching some of them. I was like, oh, they're barefoot. They're all laid back. And so I was like, I wonder if she's going to make me take my shoes off.
Actually, so I thought about...
I don't mind.
I was like, I figured you probably wouldn't mind, but at the same time, it's like, but I don't want you to be like, wow, this is the first time I met you, and I'm seeing your bare feet.
No, I'm laid back. You're fine.
Next time.
Next time.
I'd love to have you on the show.
Thank you. I would love to come back.
Yeah, or even like do a photo shoot or something for fun.
Hell yeah.
But yeah.
Let me plan something. I really like to plan things around people now once I get to know them and see their work.
Cool.
So yeah.
That'd be fun. I mean, I don't really model as much these days, but
you should. You look great.
Thank you.
Great.
I appreciate that. I feel like I kind of got over that phase, like, because I was hard into modeling like 2 years ago.
Yeah.
I was more fit, and now I'm just.
I get it.
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah. But that's a whole different story. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank
you. We will catch you around, and I look forward to seeing more of your work. So
thanks.
I usually do this at the end of each episode. We do a little clink clink.
Oh, may at least take a sip because I think it's bad luck if you don't.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, you guys have a good night.
You can reach us at fatalpodcastatx@gmail.com or Instagram @fatalappeal.